It's my one life, and I give it everything I got. I am music. I am sports. I am the culture. So during a recent media session, LeBron James alluded to something going on behind the scenes within that Lakers organization in the bubble in Orlando. And he doubled down on those comments. Yesterday in an interview with Chris Haynes, LeBron said that whatever's going on, it had nothing to do with the team chemistry, and that it's a little more intricate than that. And he also told Chris Haynes over there with the NBA that he would tell him what's going on likely when the cameras are off. I do want to read comments from ESPN's Paul Pierce, a guy that competed against LeBron James a lot of times in the postseason. He said, "I've already said LeBron is not a top 5 player of all time. And if the Lakers don't win a championship, let alone lose in the first round, I don't want to hear none of this GOAT talk no more." That is Paul Pierce, ladies and gentlemen, over there at ESPN. Yeah, so I don't agree with Paul Pierce, but I don't disagree with him 100% either, right? Let me clarify my stance on the Lakers after they did lose in Game 1 to the 8-seeded Portland Trail Blazers. The Lakers need to play better. The Lakers need to make shots. Danny Green, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, y'all not locking up Damian Lillard or CJ McCollum. And if y'all not making shots, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope made no shots in Game 1. Danny Green made a couple of shots in Game 1. Y'all not going to defend at an elite level. Why not replace you guys with scores like a Kyle Kuzma or Markieff Morris? At least with Morris, I know he's going to give it his all on the defensive side of the ball. At least with Kyle Kuzma, he's going to put up some shots. Danny Green at times looked scared to take shots. The Lakers got to make shots. Anthony Davis has to be better than what he was in Game 1. LeBron James has to be more assertive down the stretch than what he was in Game 1. That game was up for the taking. Damian Lillard looked up with 8 minutes to go and was like, "Oh, wow, the Lakers ain't took this game yet. Don't mind if I do." Portland wins Game 1. I said I don't disagree or agree 100% with Paul Pierce because in my world, I won't judge the Lakers any differently for losing to Portland in the first round. See, that doesn't matter to me that Portland's an 8 seed because I'm looking at the scenario. Number one, we're in a bubble in Orlando. You can't tell me about a 1 versus 8 matchup in the bubble when the point of being the 1 seed is, first and foremost, you got home court advantage. That's why you play in the regular season your hardest. You're trying to have that advantage in Game 7. There's no home court advantage in the bubble. They're literally, in 2 days, they're going to switch jersey colors, and that's it. That's it. So don't tell me this is a 1 versus 8 matchup. Don't tell me this is the Lakers losing in the first round as if we're under normal circumstances, because we're not. Everything in our world is different. But here's why I don't 100% disagree with Paul Pierce. The Lakers should not be losing to Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers in any round of the playoffs. The Lakers have a better team than a team in the Trail Blazers that struggled throughout the season. I obviously know Yusuf Nurkic is healthy now, but be clear, the Lakers have a better team than the Portland Trail Blazers. I mean, Anthony Davis, you keep telling me that you're a top 10 player. You was on the cover of NBA 2K. You're talking all this good game and this is your time and all that stuff to shine. You got all the endorsements, the commercial. The spotlight is on the big fella in Los Angeles right now. You telling me you should be Defensive Player of the Year? Well, where's the defense? LeBron James, you're telling me that you're chasing the ghost of Chicago. You're telling me you're chasing Michael Jeffrey Jordan. You're chasing this legacy. And you know championships help your case. Because you've lost in the finals. I mean, you've lost in the finals just as many times as Michael Jordan has won in the finals. So you need more championships. You telling me you believe you're the most valuable player of this league. So if I got 2 top 6, top 7 guys on one roster, all due respect to CJ McCollum, he's not a top 7, top 10 guy in the league. If that is the case, the Lakers should have no problems getting rid of the Portland Trail Blazers in round 1, round 2, or round 3. That's my whole premise. The Lakers should not be losing to the Portland Trail Blazers at all. I'm seeing a lot of excuses being made from that Lakers organization. We seen a couple weeks ago, apparently LeBron James and Anthony Davis are no longer doing shoot-arounds. That's interesting to me. Apparently, the Lakers were complaining about the floor spacing and the black lines on the court close to out of bounds. That's interesting to me. The Lakers are one of the few teams in the bubble in Orlando struggling scoring. Pretty much everybody's scoring at a pretty good clip. I just watched Donovan Mitchell put up 57. Luka's been on that scoring tear. We've seen guys like T.J. Warren, Damian Lillard, Devin Booker before he left. They're all lighting it up in Orlando. And the Lakers are one of the teams that are not playing so good offensively. So wait, everybody else is fine on the court, but you guys are not? Okay, that doesn't make sense to me. Everybody else, for the most part, has it going offensively. Now, the defense has been poor, but the Lakers are somehow affected more than anyone else. So let me ask you something, because I heard LeBron James make this comment as well. They asked him about going into playoff mode, and he acknowledged it's just different without fans. I'm not quoting him directly, but LeBron James said something along the lines of saying, yo, it's tough to go into that mode of playoff Bron mode because there are no fans. Okay, so let me ask, okay, what are you doing it for? Lakers, what are y'all doing it for? So are y'all trying to win a championship just for the fans? Because I thought it was LeBron chasing the ghost in Chicago, not the fans of Los Angeles chasing the ghost in Chicago. I thought Anthony Davis needed a championship to submit his legacy as one of the best big men in the league of his era, not the fans. Okay, are we doing this for Kobe or not? Seems like a lot of teams are playing inspired basketball. The Lakers just so happen to not be one of those teams. You do realize Kobe was a lifelong Laker. This was supposed to be the season dedicated to Kobe. If any team would have been motivated, it would have been a team that had the best record in the Western Conference pretty much throughout the season. And their season got cut short because of COVID. You'd think that team would come in this bubble in Orlando with time off, ready to go as much as anyone else, but that has not been the case thus far. There will be no excuses if the Lakers lose to the Portland Trailblazers. I'm not going to say in the first round. I'm just saying, generally speaking, there will be no excuses. Too much talent present on this team. LeBron's telling me he still believes he's one of the top two. Y'all tell me he's the best in the game right now. I think a guy that plays on another Los Angeles team might have something to say about that. Anywho, I'm looking at this Lakers roster up and down, and I'm looking at LeBron seem Hollywood. Anthony Davis, they seem Hollywood to me. And it don't feel like they're putting in the necessary work to be better game in, game out. And if LeBron's not taking this thing serious, why would Danny Green go put the extra hours in the gym? If my leader's not, you don't know one of the differences. Danny Green played with Kawhi last year, won a championship. He's playing with LeBron this year in hopes of a championship. I bet you every dollar that I got, and it ain't that many, that after a game in which Danny Green struggled with the Raptors last year, I bet Kawhi said nothing to Danny Green. Nothing. Maybe a couple words, but for the most part, nothing. Okay, I believe LeBron James is still communicating with Danny Green after games, but he's probably just telling him, yo, just keep shooting. Or maybe just talking about something else. I'm not mad at the guy that tells somebody to keep shooting. My only thing is when I look at the Kawhi Leonards of the world, God rest the dead, the Kobe Bryants of the world, who's about to celebrate a birthday, and the Michael Jordans of the world, you know what's going to get Danny Green back into that gym? Extra hours. The fact that Danny knows he let his star down. A lot of y'all know what I'm talking about here. Ever let your dad down? Yeah, it's just different when you let dad down. Like we've let mom down countless times, but mom loves us anyway. If your dad was in your life, if you ever let dad down, you know it's different. It's just not a simple fix. It's like, dang, like dad usually don't ever show emotion. But I know I really messed up when I let dad down. I'm not trying to call Kawhi Leonard or LeBron James Danny Green's dad, but I think there's a different approach to things. When you feel like I got to do better because I let somebody down who's counting on me, I think you put in that work to never see that mistake happen again. And if LeBron James ain't motivating a guy like Danny Green, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to go put that work in, if they don't feel like he's putting the necessary work in and go after this thing, they not gonna care. And all this making excuses about the lines in the bubble, And all this, the locker room talk, all this, not going to shoot around. Okay, there will be no excuses, and your legacy will get hit, LeBron. AD, your legacy will get hit. And by the way, Anthony Davis is a free agent in a couple of months. Let's not forget that. My thing the reason why, and I don't think Paul Pierce does a great job at ESPN. Let me be honest. I don't think he does a great job. I think his preparation is poor for work, right? But I'll say this to Paul Pierce. What throws off guys like Paul Pierce, what throws off guys like Kevin Garnett, other greats, is that a lot of these guys have competed against LeBron in the playoffs and Kobe in the playoffs. I said this the other night. I'm a lifelong Laker fan, so I got to watch most of pretty much all of Kobe's championship runs, and now I'm watching LeBron do it. It's different when you're actually a fan of this team, right? But I'm a Laker fan regardless. That game 1 against the Portland Trail Blazers, this is what I believe. Kobe would have either lost that game by 20 points or won that game for the Lakers by 20. What do you mean by that? What I mean is, Kobe wasn't going to sit around and let a game just be in the balance like that. That game was up for the taking, I'd say from the midway point in the third quarter on to somewhere in the fourth. It was just up for grabs. And ironically, Damian Lillard, the guy that Kobe co-signed, he said, you know what, I'm going to take this. Kobe said Dame was a bad boy. And I hate doing the Kobe-LeBron comparison, especially right now. But the reality is the reality. I believe Kobe would have went out losing that game shooting 20 shots in the fourth. LeBron went out passing. And to me, if you calling yourself the best all time, I want the best all time losing the game for me. I want to win with the best of all time. I want to lose with the best all time. Because for me, that makes me feel like that was our best shot. If you give it your best shot, I might be upset for a few minutes, but I can at least say my guys tried. If I go to the gym and work out and I look at my Apple Watch, and I see that I only burnt so many calories because I know what I'm capable of and I've seen the best of me in the gym. If I see I only burnt 300 calories in an hour, something's not right about that. All right? Something's off about that. I would not be happy with myself, not be happy with the scale, because I know I had better to give. And I'm looking at this Lakers team, and to me, though LeBron James had a playoff career high 16 assists in game 1, there was still more to be desired for him offensively, because that game was such in the balance, and Anthony Davis was struggling, and so many of your teammates were struggling. Kobe would have lost that game by 20 or won it by 20. So I think for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, it throws them off other guys like that, because y'all keep telling them LeBron's top 5, and I do believe LeBron's a top 5 player. I do believe he has the potential of falling backwards, but as of right now, I have him as number 3 all time for me, or I have him as 2, and if he doesn't win a championship in Los Angeles, I'll pull him back to 3. And I understand anybody that has Kareem in their top 5. I have Kobe at 2, not Kareem though, right? But I get it. But when you tell Paul Pierce and KG, these guys like, yo, LeBron's top 5 all time, look, they see the passes. They know he's great as a passer and a facilitator. But they know what they were up against when they went against Kobe. They know with 8 minutes to go, okay, he's coming. Michael Jordan is coming. Kobe Bryant is coming. It's 8 minutes to go. We know the Black Mamba is coming. We know MJ is coming. We know he's about to go into that mode. And to see a guy who's telling me that he believes he's the greatest of all time. He does believe that, by the way. He said that. After he won a championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016, he said he felt like he was the GOAT. That made him the GOAT. And for guys like Paul Pierce and KG to be like, wait, you think you the GOAT? But there are games up for grabs in the prime of your career, the back end of your prime, and you let Danny Green lose it? Kentavious Caldwell-Pope lose it? MJ would never. Kobe would never. And again, is that our fault or LeBron's fault that he's a facilitator first? I don't know. Maybe somewhere in between. Maybe that just means, from a GOAT perspective, the guys that we look at on that pedestal, that's how they did it, and we're trying to compare LeBron to what they did. That's fair. But it's going to always be tough for guys like Paul Pierce to say LeBron is the GOAT when there are games up for grabs in the playoffs This ain't the regular season. You're trying to instill confidence in your guys. We are in the postseason. You only need 16 of these bad boys to win a championship. After 3-4 months rest, we have LeBron James just not taking shots in the fourth, missing free throws. Anthony Davis missing. And I think that type of stuff is contagious. Your attitude, your morale, like how you approaching the game. I said this the other day and I stand by this. One thing that I think is hurting LeBron James is he's one of the greatest when it comes postseason time to go on 0 dark 30. Cut my phone off. If you ain't my wife and my kids, don't hit me up right now. Mav Carter, handle all my business. Rich Paul, handle all my business. For the playoffs, for April, May, and June, leave me alone. I'll talk to you in June. I got all summer. Leave me alone. With COVID obviously putting the season to a pause and the bubble manifesting, what I think is what happened is right now is, you're in a bubble in Orlando. Right now I'm looking around. I see LeBron James and I'm not mad at him at all. One of the people that I look up to that I used to intern under, Jamel Hill and Kerry Champion, just started a new TV show. And LeBron was the first guest on it. Now, a lot of guys are doing podcasts from the bubble and all that, but I don't expect somebody who's chasing Michael Jordan, meaning he knows like games like this are going to affect him 20, 30 years down the line. I just don't expect LeBron to be doing those type of things right now in the playoffs, start kicking off TV shows, but I get it. It's Black Power. I get it. I ain't mad at it. So I look at LeBron James as somebody who prides himself on being the utmost focus as he can in the playoffs. Maybe LeBron can't go to a different mode right now because he already admitted that he can't turn his phone off, obviously because he has a family away from him and there's a virus going on in our nation. So LeBron, he probably isn't as focused as he would be outside of the bubble. Think about it like that. There are guys, you think Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are in focus right now? You think guys around the league, you think TJ Warren ain't focused right now? You think Damian Lillard not focused right now? I mean, it feels like guys have went in the dark 30 mode that LeBron usually goes in right now. LeBron benefits from guys not making sound decisions when they have things at their disposal. One of the greatest traits about LeBron James is that he's got all this money, all this wealth, and he seems to be a faithful guy. He seems to be a family man. He seems to be smart with his money, smart with investments, all that great stuff. When other things are around him. LeBron has been one of the greatest at not suscepting to temptation, right? Well, you've taken temptation away from all the other NBA players. They don't have a choice. You bring a chick into the bubble, you're known as the guy that ended the NBA season forever. So even if guys are sneaking it, they ain't getting caught. With LeBron James, maybe he can't go into dark 30 mode because of circumstances. Maybe. Y'all let me know how important Game 2 is for the Los Angeles Lakers if they want to win this 7-game series against the Portland Trail Blazers. Again, I don't care what round it is. I'm not blaming LeBron for losing as a 1 seed versus an 8. I'm not doing that. What he will get the utmost blame for is leading the Lakers team that he claims he's the best player on, thinks he's the MVP of the league, thinks he's got another MVP candidate, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and Anthony Davis. If y'all lose to Portland, no excuses for that one. No excuses. You lose to the Clippers in the conference finals, I get it. I think the Clippers are the best team. You lose to the Bucks, maybe Giannis is better than LeBron at this point in the game. Maybe Chris Middleton makes more sense in the bubble than Anthony Davis does. I would understand it. The Bucks were the best team all year. Losing to Portland just because they got Yusuf Nurkic back? They struggled all year? Unacceptable. No excuses.